Burn body fat, reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease, and live longer.
Zone 2.
Zone 2.
Zone 2.
Zone 2 cardio.
But what is Zone 2 cardio? If you're anything like me, cardio is just walking before you lift or lifting weights a little bit faster. But there's a whole science of cardiovascular training. If we really want to get serious about our health and optimizing for longevity, we should figure out what Zone 2 is and how to leverage it. And because I'm now 36 years old, which I just recently found out about, like literally all year I've been calling myself 34, and then Victoria was like, no, you're 36. I wasn't only 1 year off, I was 2. But anyways, because I'm 36 years old now, this is on the top of my mind. I made a lot of stupid decisions when I was younger, and now I really care about longevity. And all the data point to, if you want to live longer, you need to truly optimize your cardiovascular fitness. And because I care so much about this, I've spent a lot of time diving into the literature on Zone 2 so that you didn't have to. So in this video, we'll dive into what is Zone 2 cardio, what kind of benefits you'll get from it, and most importantly, how can you do it? So what exactly is Zone 2 cardio? Well, scientifically, it's described as exercising with a lactate threshold of 1.7 to 1.9 millimoles per liter. What the heck does that mean? Well, in order to understand that, let's first dive into what exactly is aerobic versus anaerobic exercise. Aerobic means it utilizes oxygen. Anaerobic means it doesn't utilize oxygen. And here's a quick little scientific vocab tip for you. When you see the prefix "an" in front of a word, it means without in Latin. In this case, "an" without, aerobic oxygen, which means without oxygen. Or think about like anemia without blood. Or you might see the compound caffeine anhydrous on your pre-workout. Again, "an" without, hydrous, water, so essentially dehydrated caffeine. But as I was saying, anaerobic means without oxygen. Aerobic training primarily utilizes the aerobic energy system, which relies on oxygen to produce energy from carbohydrates, fats, and sometimes even proteins. During aerobic training, the body can efficiently supply oxygen to the muscles, allowing for sustained activity without a significant accumulation of lactate in the bloodstream. Anaerobic training primarily engages the anaerobic energy system, such as the phosphagen system, or short bursts of high-intensity activity, and the glycolytic system for moderate high-intensity activities lasting up to a few minutes. During anaerobic training, the body's demand for energy exceeds the rate at which oxygen can be delivered into the muscles, leading to increased reliance on anaerobic metabolism and the production of lactate. Which leads us back to the whole lactate threshold portion. Lactate threshold represents a point at which lactate production exceeds its clearance in the bloodstream. Lactate is produced as a byproduct of anaerobic metabolism, which occurs when the body's demand for energy exceeds the rate at which oxygen can be delivered to the muscles. At the lactate threshold, there's a balance between lactate production and clearance. However, as the exercise intensity increases beyond this point, lactate production surpasses clearance capacity, leading to a rapid accumulation of lactate in the bloodstream. So remember I told you that Zone 2 is scientifically defined as a lactate threshold of 1.7 to 1.9 millimole per liter. That refers to the concentration of lactate in the bloodstream at a specific exercise intensity. This level of lactate concentration typically represents low intensity effort where the body is primarily relying on aerobic metabolism to produce energy. Okay, now that we got those boring scientific explanations out of the way, let's dive into what it means to you from an actionable standpoint. And the easiest way that I've found is something called the talk test. The talk test refers to how easy or difficult it is to talk while performing exercise. If you can just carry on an entire conversation, you're not winded at all, that's not quite Zone 2. If you're in an all-out sprint, it's really hard to talk, this is too far. In Zone 2, you should be able to talk, but be a little bit winded. You're taking big breaths in between your sentences. See, this is a lot easier than having to measure your lactate threshold. Now let's hop on the bike and do some Zone 2 while we talk about the benefits of doing Zone 2, but first we've got to build it. Voila! This video is sponsored by Yesoul Bikes. You guys know that the bike is my absolute favorite piece of cardio equipment. It's where I like to do my cardio and questions, but you also know that I hate filming in the gym and I absolutely hate being around other people in the gym, so I started to look for a bike that I could have inside my house. Now when I started looking for bikes, of course I searched Peloton, and did you know that that thing runs for $1,445 to start? This is something you may not know about me, but I'm definitely the cheapest rich person that I've ever met. I hate spending money if I don't have to. So I started looking for some alternatives, and Yesoul was coming up all over the place. There was a ton of reviews on YouTube and Reddit, and I saw it on Instagram, and people really seemed to love it and said that it was just as good, if not better, than Peloton. This thing starts at $499, and with my code, you can get it for $399. That's $399. Remember, the Peloton, $1,445 just to start, and then they tack on a subscription fee. Those are the kind of prices that I like to pay, but full disclosure here, I got this one for free. Remember, I hate spending money, so when I saw this, I reached out to them like, hey, I really want to do a video on Zone 2. I would like to use your bike to do it, can I? And luckily, they agreed. So Mr. Cheap Me did get this one for $0 in return. I'm making them this video. They've sponsored this video, but I'm happy to let you guys know that you can use my code, which will be in the description, to save $100 on this bad boy. Now they want me to review it, and you guys know me, I'm as transparent as can be. If this thing sucks, I'm gonna let you know. So I hope they were ready for that. My first impressions of this thing are, it's sweet. I actually thought it was gonna be a huge eyesore in our house, and you guys also know that I'm super anal about everything being meticulously clean and in order and in nice fashion, and this actually doesn't look bad at all. It actually looks pretty cool, and Victoria's like, yeah, it doesn't look bad because it looks expensive, which it does, but remember, $399, I like that. Second, it wasn't all that hard to put together. Luckily I had Victoria to help me. We did it in maybe like 20-30 minutes. It really wasn't that bad. Usually we get in a fight when we're putting things together, like, you know, we get the IKEA furniture and then, you know, 10-20 minutes in, we're fighting. We've put the thing together backwards or something. That didn't happen. It was relatively easy. Now, as far as the bike itself, I'm actually pretty damn impressed. One of the coolest parts is its big ass screen. It's huge and it has really good quality. So the cool thing is that you can link up your phone, and then you can do the Yesoul programming where they have different, you know, programs that you can work out to. They have male trainers, female trainers. You can do it against other people, so that's always cool. Don't know how much of that I will do. I kind of just like to cruise to my own pace, and I love working out to watch YouTube, which is absolutely awesome that I can hook my phone up to this thing and stream YouTube and stream my favorite YouTubers like, you know, the Dan Co that you see here. But in your case, you should probably watch my channel. When you order this thing, you'll see that it does come from China, and you may be thinking it's a flimsy piece of crap, but actually it was put together super well, and everything seems to be high quality. Even the parts that are plastic are high quality plastic. Everything fits together perfectly, smoothly. It's overall very sturdy, really, really good construction. Overall, from everything that I've seen of putting it together, doing a brief ride, I'm pretty happy with it. But I'm going to give it the test while we do the rest of this conversation on Zone 2 while I ride and do my Zone 2. So we'll really put it to the test, and I'll let you know my absolute final verdict on it by the end of the video. One of the biggest impacts that Zone 2 has on your fitness and your overall health is that it increases mitochondrial biogenesis. This happens through an increased expression of PPR gamma coactivator 1 alpha, which regulates mitochondrial biogenesis. This all enhances the capacity of muscle cells to generate energy aerobically. This adaptation results in an increase in mitochondrial density and oxidative enzyme activity, which facilitate energy production. It's also great for the cardiovascular system, and the data show improvements in stroke volume, cardiac output, and capillary density within skeletal muscle. It's also been shown to increase HDL cholesterol, which in turn may lower LDL cholesterol. Though in general, I don't usually recommend cardio just for the lowering of lipids. Usually diet has a little bit more of an impact, and then unfortunately pharmacology. Though continue to please do your cardio. Now, how much Zone 2 cardio should you do? Well, from what I can gather, the sweet spot seems to be something like 45 minutes, 4 to 5 times a week. And when it comes to Zone 2, it seems that it is better if you can do that entire 45-minute block in one period, because a lot of the benefits come from the time domain that you're doing it in. However, that being said, that's a really tall order for most of us to achieve. 45 minutes, 4 times a day, on top of the lifting that we're supposed to do, the cold plunge, the sauna, the grounding, the sun in our butthole, all of that stuff, right? There's so many things that we need to do. I myself work around 60 to 70 hours a week. It's pretty excessive, but that's what I do. And I can't seem to fit in 45 minutes of cardio multiple times a week. So what I do is what I deem microdose fitness. So I get on something like this, where I go for a walk, try to get my heart rate up multiple times a day. Most days, I usually can take about 7-10 minute breaks throughout the day. whenever I have breaks between meetings or client exams, I will go out and I'll get a quick brisk walk in. Now, when the weather's crappy, I can leave the office, come in here, hop on here and microdose my fitness. Is it as good if I were to sit here for 45 minutes and do continual zone 2? No. But is it better than sitting on my ass? Abso-freaking-lutely. By doing that over the years, I've maintained six-pack abs. My lab work looks impeccable. So it's working for me. Could I be more fit? Absolutely. We could all be more fit. But we could be more fit from just doing 10-minute bursts rather than sitting on our ass. So that's what I would definitely recommend. And now my general consensus for this Yesoul bike is I absolutely love it. I have ridden Peloton. We have a few down in our gym here. I don't find them to be very special. In fact, I usually go to another knockoff brand. That's the brand that I usually do my cardio and questions on. But this is awesome. I was just texting my friend Dan Coe, who you guys saw in the YouTube video a little bit ago, and he ordered one. So this is Dan Coe approved as well. I really love this thing. Like I said, I'm going to do my microdosing of cardio on this. I did this last night. I had 10 minutes to spare. It was like maybe 30 minutes before we usually get ready for bed. And I had nothing to do for a moment. So I was like, shoot, why don't I just hop on the bike? It is awesome, super convenient having this in here. I threw on a podcast and I was watching the podcast on here. Generally, I would be sitting watching the podcast. So might as well move my legs while I'm doing this. I love it. I don't think that I will do the videos. My one knock on the company is that they only have a few instructors on there, neither of which I resonate with. There's a guy who's a little flamboyant and, I'm a little bit more aggressive and I like my workouts to be, a little different than what he was doing with his flamboyant gestures and stuff like that. No attack on him, but just want to get me fired up. The other one's a female. I kind of actually preferred her better, but I'm not just like an aerobic exerciser, dude. I don't see myself on here doing some crazy shit, I just don't think that I will use those, but for this, where I can watch my podcast, I can film my videos talking to you guys, hey, this is awesome. It seems super well constructed. Honestly, this is all metal. Everything is perfect. Like, it's not janky in any sense of the word. Overall, I am super happy with this bike. If I had any other knocks on it, I would give it. I had to try to make a knock saying that, I don't really like the instructors, and that's the instructor, not the bike. So I don't know. Honestly, the bike, I love it. I would recommend it for $3.99 in my code. You can't beat that, in my opinion. But anyways, I hope that the information that we generated in this video about Zone 2 will help you to improve your health and overall longevity. But if you want to improve your health and longevity, watch this video too so you can make sure you do.